Okay. Remove my big old head. I look so pale, you guys. Okay. So this video is for Wednesday. Um, Yesterday we looked at Hinduism quickly. Oh, I need to set the timer. Let me do that real fast so that I don't go too much. So anyway, yesterday we looked at like the basics of Hinduism. And today we're going to start applying that in the social structure that is the caste system. Okay. I can't just go through there we go. The caste system in India, you should have also talked about this as well. These are your notes. You need this. And I'm going to tell you because I didn't get to tell you because I've been here. But what you see up here on my PowerPoints, that's a skeleton of what you need. Okay. When I'm like fleshing out this information and explaining this information, in theory, you need to be adding extra information. You need to be putting more stuff. Okie dokie. Okay. So, yeah, you should have talked about this last year as well in geography, the caste system. The word caste just means the social classes. It's just the classes, okay? So the caste system is the social hierarchy, the social classes. In the Western world, we basically see like three social classes. You have like rich, middle, poor. Not here. Here it's very different and it's very rigid. You also can't move. Oh, see right here, I put there is no, and it's really big, no movement. You cannot move from one social class to another social class. If you're born in India, okay, not here, in India, if you're born into the rich class, you're gonna die in the rich class. In America, that's not true. You might squander all of your money and lose every single thing that you own and die a pauper, die poor, die homeless, die having nothing. The reverse is also true. In America, you could start out in like a really, really poor family, work your way through school, do what you're supposed to do, take your AP classes, get your AP credit, get your college credits, get, what is it, scholarships and stuff, end up going to a college that you never thought you'd be able to afford, and then become, I don't know, a doctor, something that makes a lot of money. And you can now be up a social class. In America, also, you can marry into different social classes. If you are poor, you could marry someone who's rich, or vice versa. Okay. Yeah, not in India. In India, whatever caste you're born into, that's the caste you're going to die in. That sounds awful, but there is no movement. Even if you have a rich family who has squandered all of their money, they literally have no money. They're poor, but they're still considered the highest caste. They're still in the rich caste, even though they don't have any money. Let's see, you could be poor and find $1 million, but you're still in that low caste. It's not based on wealth like it is in the West. It's based on what your family is, where you were born. There also is no intermarriage. I was going to say marriaging. What? There's no intermarrying, period. Kids are always like, but what if? What if they do? Mm-mm. That's a Western idea where you have like the poor peasant girl who falls in love with the rich prince. That's a Western idea. Um, that didn't happen in India. There is no mixing, none. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Aladdin and Jasmine did it. No. That's Disney. There is no mixing in Hinduism, period. It does not happen. Well, okay, let me change that. It did not happen. In theory, the caste system today is illegal in India. However, it's still like entrenched in people's minds. And so, even though technically, legally, it does not exist, it does exist in people's minds. So, I will say we are starting to see some movement like right now, like 2020, what are we in? 2022. We are starting to see some movement, but very, very little. And really only among the younger generations. The older generations, that caste system is still like entrenched in their minds, and they're like, nope. Because see, they're afraid that if they cross castes, if they cross social lines, automatic bad karma. Do you remember that from yesterday? Automatic bad karma. If you have bad karma, that means that after you get reincarnated into your next life is going to be a step down. It's going to be worse. You're going to be poorer than you were. It's going to be harder. It's going to be more work. So people don't do that because they're afraid about that next life. Okay. Okay. There's basically, historically speaking, it's different now, but historically speaking, there's two different types of Indians. There's native Indians who have just like always been there from the very beginning. And then there were a group of people who invaded. Okay. They invaded like years and years and years ago. But when they invaded, they're called the Aryans. Do you see this right here? Aryans. So you have the natives who are up here, and then you have the Aryans. The Aryans came from the north, and they came through like the mountain passes in India. Let me go back and show you. Let me move my big old head. So right here, you should have learned last year. Okay, right here, you have, I can't zoom in more. That's as much as I can go, sorry. But like right up here, you have the Himalaya. Okay, and you should have learned last year, those are like the highest mountains in the world. Over here, you have other really, really high mountains, the Hindu Kush and stuff. So the northern part of India is kind of surrounded, sort of. What's happening over here with my hair, you guys? Anyway, it's kind of surrounded by really, really high mountains, the highest in the whole world. People don't come through this way. Like we today in 1919, oh my gosh, 2022 can barely get over these mountains. All right. Climbing Everest is big, like it's a big deal. People back then didn't come this way if they were invading India. Except the Aryans, they started somewhere up here. We don't really know for sure, but they started somewhere up here. And over like thousands of years, they migrated south. Okay. So again, somewhere up here, and they just kind of over thousands of years migrated south. When they got somewhere in this area and they could see all the massive mountains in front of them, they ran into a river. There's a river right here. It comes down this way. Okay. It's called the Indus River. Last year, y'all probably learned about the Ganges River, and it comes down this way. Okay. But the Indus River is up here. And it like starts up here somewhere in the mountains. So the Aryans find this river, and anywhere you find river, like follow it. So the Aryans follow this mountain pass along the river, and they come in and basically see the people here. The native Indians who were here, they were like really, really, really advanced. Like they had all kinds of like really cool houses, and they actually had toilets, not like our toilets, but they had like they had really, really cool technology and stuff. And so the Aryans get there and they're like, whoa, look at these cities. So they take over. okay, we now have two different types of Indian people: the Aryans, who just took over, and the native Indians who got taken over. And I can't, okay, let me go to this slide and let me move my, there we go. And let me move my big old head down. I'll just put it here. You have two different types of Indian people now. Because the Aryans came from farther north, they look different than the native Indians. The Aryans tend to be taller, leaner. They tend to be lighter skinned. They spoke a completely different language. They had a written form of language. They're the ones who brought Hinduism, the idea of Hinduism, with them. The writing that they use is called Sanskrit. I think it's really pretty, but that's just me. Anyway, and then the native Indians that you have over here, because they're totally like, they're farther south, guys, historically speaking, again, not today, okay, but historically speaking, skin color was determined by how close a people lived to the equator, which, I mean, when you think about it, is like, duh, it makes perfect sense, but it's just one of those things that you don't really think about. So people that lived closer to the equator, which the native Indians did, they were darker. They tended to be shorter and like stoutier. Okay, um, you know, think of it like the typical, and this is totally stereotyping. Okay, but the typical this the stereotypical Aryan body would be like a baseball player, a quarterback. Okay, tall and lean. The typical native Indian would be like you're like linebacker, you're like big heavy defense dudes, yeah. So it's just different. However, the Aryans come in and take over, and what usually happens with invading peoples, they look at the people that they just took over and they're like, gross. That's normal. That's an like when you study history, that's the name of the game. You just like, ugh, gross, we took over you. So what happens is the lower people, the people who just got conquered, are going to get put at the bottom of society. The Aryans are going to be at the top of society. The native Indians are going to be put at the bottom. That's the way it always will be, always. Okay. So we need to look at, okay, I have not successfully figured out how to, there we go. Like if I'm recording, how to switch PowerPoints. So now we need to talk about the different castes. All right. Sorry. At the very top, you have a group of people called the Brahmin. If you take off the N right there, you have the word Brahma, which is the head god. There's a reason. The Brahmin, they are the priests. Okay. They are the social class of the priests. Now, it's not only men. There are women who are Brahmin. I mean, you have to have women, or like people don't have little babies. However, the women couldn't be priests. There were some sects, some groups, sects. There were some groups of Hindus that had some female priests, but oh my gosh, that is so rare and not even close to the norm. So women were not priests. The men were priests. But there were women who were in the social class because they married the priest. Obviously, if this priest right here, if this dude has a little girl, she's going to be in the Brahmin caste because that's his daughter. Okay, so we do have women in the Brahmin caste, but again, they're not priests. They're just the wives to the priests. Okay, and here are some pictures of what some of the priests might look like. This is a historical picture over here. So you can see, how they would have been historically drawn. They're at the top of society. Okay, when you die, As a Brahmin, if you have good karma, then whenever you die, you are not going to be reincarnated. Remember, I mentioned this yesterday. You're not going to be reincarnated. You instead, your soul is going to get reborn and it's going to go up to Brahma and mesh with Brahma. At that point, you get to experience complete, absolute peace, calm, understanding. You cease to be. Your being is now with Brahma. That's called nirvana. Okay. Total, ultimate peace. So the Brahmin are at the very top of the social class system. Underneath the Brahmin, I can't change them. Okay, we're just gonna have to do this. Um, there we go. Underneath the Brahmin, you have the warrior class. Okay, the warrior class. Here is like, I mean, they don't, today they just look like you and I do. But like whenever they dress in their like normal, what's the word, cultural clothes, this is what it would look like, this middle picture here. And here you have a couple of different pictures of like warriors through the time. That is earlier than this because you got a gun. Did you notice? But anyway, so you have like different pictures of what the warriors look like. It doesn't matter if you don't want to be a warrior. If you're a warrior class and you're a little boy, then you're going to be a warrior when you grow up. If you don't want to be a good warrior, then you're going to be a dead warrior. It doesn't matter. You don't get an option to choose in history. Okay. Whatever class you're born into, that's the class that you are. So you're a warrior. Just like with the Brahmin, there are female warriors, but they don't fight. The female warriors, they're just like the Brahmin in that, like, if this dude has a daughter, she's in the warrior caste, but she doesn't fight. She's going to marry this dude over here, okay? And they're going to produce little warrior babies together. She's in the warrior caste, but she doesn't fight. Ladies, I'm sorry. I feel your pain because, hi, I'm a girl. Your job throughout most of history was to take care of the man and have babies. I know. That'll change later. It'll start changing for you this year in about March. Yay. We will have some females that we'll talk about who push that envelope, like Eliana of Aquitaine. She says, "Nuh-uh." So we do have some women who push that envelope, but it is not the norm at all. Okay. For the most part, women are wives and women are little baby makers. That's kind of it. Okay. But we will have the exception. We'll talk about some of the exceptions. Okay. So the next group, you guys, I can't get out. Okay. Now it went too far. Okay. Okay. The next group is right here. Let me put my head down here. The next group, they're called the merchant farmers. And y'all, this confuses kids every year because kids are like, merchant farmer, and they separate them. The merchant farmers, it's one social class. One. Okay. Merchants, if you're like, what does that mean? It means you sell goods. You're a trader, a merchant. You have a shop. Okay. That's what this guy's doing. Okay. Here's another picture of what merchant farmers might look like. Okay. The farmers obviously are farmers. They grow stuff. And then probably sell their crops to the merchants. And then the merchants probably sell the crops to like everybody else. The merchant farmers are like in the middle. They're like what we would think of as the middle class. In the Hindu caste system, the warriors and the Brahmin are like the top. They're the rich. Even though I will tell you, honestly, a whole lot of these merchants are going to be rich. They're going to have money, but they're still considered like a middle class. Okay. They're still considered a middle class. Those are the top three social classes. You have the Brahmin, the priests, the warriors, and then the merchant farmers. You can only be in those social classes if you're born into it. And do you see this word right here? It's been on every slide. If you're an Aryan, you can tell by this picture right here. They're showing a difference by the color of skin. It's like, it is so racist. I know you're like, Miss, that's racist. Yeah, it is. I mean, no, I'm not racist. But yeah, this is an incredibly racist system. Again, I told you, like, today, this is considered illegal in India because it is, it's racist. However, people still kind of abide by it, okay? But I mean, you can tell by this right here. These guys, lighter skinned, they're definitely merchants or whatever. These guys aren't. They're probably Shudra, okay, a little bit lower down. So, you know, all three top positions are Aryan. And then the Aryans put all of the native Indians, whenever they took over, at the bottom two levels. The bottom two levels are really sad. Let me cough. Hold on. This next level, they're called the Shudra. Okay. The Shudras are non-Aryan, so they're native Indians. Okay. Um, and they kind of have like low level, like typically city worker jobs. Not really beggars, but like in this picture right here, you see this guy right here with a big old whatever. Y'all, that's a fan. Okay, so he's like basically like a servant, like fanning. Okay, they're rich people. This woman right here, she's carrying water. People did that as a job. Like you would go to an Aryan's house or something, and you'd be like, "Do you need any water from the river today?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure." So you go get them water, and they'll give you, I don't know, whatever they give you, a cracker or a hamburger or a coin. I don't know, whatever it was. Okay, so like that's their job. They're like low level jobs. This poor guy right here, he's doing some sewer work. You'll also see the very bottom level, the Dalit, do sewer work as well. But that's what you're seeing here. That's like the ground, okay? And then he's down like in the sewer cleaning out something. So they might be like low level construction workers. In this case, plumber type people. This guy right here is actually washing feet. I know you're like, he's washing their leg. I know, just go with it, okay? But a lot of Shudra were like feet washers or leg washers, whatever. But anyway, that's what this picture is showing you. So the Shudra are like manual labor workers, but really poor low level workers. They're not like making a lot of money. Even like some of the construction workers can like bank today. And even in the medieval period, like in Europe, they would do pretty well for themselves. Not here. Here, the construction workers are going to be given very little. Um, it's a way of control by a conquering people. Whenever you have a conquering people like the Aryans who came in and took over the native Indians, it's a way of control. You keep them down, you keep them poor, you keep them uneducated, and this sounds so foreign to us, but it's true. They don't have the educational understanding to know that they can revolt. It sounds foreign to us that we're like, bro, rise up and take them over. But they don't know better. They don't know that they can. Um, they just don't know that they can. Okay, you guys, I'm going to have to go like spray my hair or something because something's happening. Okay. I feel like my skin's kind of crawling. And I was talking to someone last night about it, and they were like, Yeah, that's how I felt with COVID. And so I'm like, I feel like I'm all like itchy and stuff. And so I'm just like, ah. So anytime I feel like hair like in front of my face, I'm fine, you guys. I don't know if you've had COVID, but I haven't. This is my first time. I'm not really enjoying it here. Okay, moving along. The very, very bottom. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's so sad. And I can't move the page. There we go. The very bottom are the Dalit. Quite often, and here I'll put my head in the middle. Quite often, in the Western world, in America, you'll hear we don't call them the Dalit. We tend to call them the untouchables. And let me say, I've had a lot of kids in the past confuse it. They think that they're called untouchables because they're so high that they can't be touched. No, no. They're so low that like nobody wants to touch them. That's the mindset with the Dalit calling them untouchables. They're like, well, I was about to say something else. Never mind. That's going into medieval Europe. Never mind. But anyway, like they're so low that that's why they're called untouchables. Okay, like everybody else believe that if you touch an untouchable, you're unclean. If you're unclean, you have to go to a Brahmin, a priest, to get cleansed. If you don't get cleansed and you die, then you die with automatic bad karma. That means everything that you've ever done in your whole life that was good, it's gone. It's wiped away. Everything. Now you only have bad karma. That's it. Dude, people treated the Dalit like they were some kind of, I don't know, awful. And these are people. These are human beings. So sad. Most Dalit didn't even really live in the actual city walls. Most Dalit lived outside of the city walls in like tent cities. Look at this down here. Like you see this down here. That is so sad that somebody would live there. Now, I mean, to them though, it's all they know. Like to them, that might be a palace. But that is so sad. They're like tent cities just made up of, whatever they can get a hold of. These ladies here we go. They're like cooking something like in the middle of the street. It's so sad. Most Dalit are actually beggars. Most Dalit don't really have jobs. Like I said, some of them can take like sewer jobs or burying the dead, doing things that are considered unclean. They could do some things like that, but it's rare. Most Dalit are beggars. That's like their, I don't know, job. Most of them. Okay. Look at this poor baby. Look at the trash in the background. To live among that, y'all, these are human beings. That's so sad. Crazy. Like that, I don't know. It's just so sad. So anyway, again, officially, the caste system is illegal today. Officially. However, very few Dalit still to this day get hired for anything because, again, people are afraid to touch them. It just blows my mind that, like, to treat somebody like that, I can't imagine, like, I don't know. It's just really sad to me. Anyway, um, now I don't know if I have this slide or if I just need to explain this. I don't remember because normally, okay, yeah, normally when I teach what I'm about to teach, I have you. Whoa, what just happened? Okay. I have you in class and I use you. It's our first like role play thing. So this might get a little bit complicated doing it like this. Okay. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. Okay. You know how I told you that whenever you get reincarnated under Hinduism, you move up a social class if you were like good and you had good karma, or you move down a social class if you were bad and had bad karma. Remember I told you that? Well, here's where we apply it all. Here's where it makes sense. Okay. Let's say that you are a merchant farmer. Okay. You're one of these guys right here. You're a merchant farmer. So you're like right in the middle social class. Okay. When you die, if you die with good karma, then your next life, you're going to go up a social class. Now, don't get excited. You're not skipping like all the social classes and going straight to nirvana. No, no, no. You're moving up a social class or down a social class. And again, please remember, I'm teaching you historical ideas. There are people today who do believe you can bypass. There are Hindus today who believe that you can bypass and go straight to Brahma. But we're talking historically speaking, okay? So in the medieval period, they believed that if you're in the middle social class, you're a merchant farmer, and you die with good karma, you're a good person, then whenever you come back, oops, I went the wrong way. Your life is going to be that of a warrior next. You have moved up a social class. Now, if as a warrior, you are a good warrior, you die with good karma. Then, whenever you die and you get reincarnated, your next life is that of a Brahmin. You move up a social class. Okay? Cool. While you're a Brahmin, you're a good Brahmin. Then what happens to you? You go to Brahma, remember? And you get to experience nirvana and you're at total peace and you're done. However, it's not usually how it works. Most of the time, people aren't just good. In fact, let's go back to our original, idea. You're a merchant farmer, okay? And you're a good person. You live a good life. Your next life is a warrior, right? But as a warrior, you're bad. You beat people up, you kick puppies, you have bad karma. Then your next life, you're going to move down and you're a merchant farmer again. As a merchant farmer this time, you're bad. You cheat people, you lie to people, you steal extra fabric from people when they buy things from you. Your next life, you go down and now you're a Shudra in this life. Now, let's say as a Shudra, you're a good, honest plumber, okay? You're a good, nice person who has good karma. Then your next life, you move back up and now you're a merchant farmer again. As a merchant farmer, you're good, so you move up. Now you're a warrior. As a warrior, you're bad, you move down. As a merchant, you're bad, you move down. As a Shudra, you're good, you move up. The idea of Hinduism is that people move up and down constantly. Because see, here's the thing. In Hinduism, they don't believe, okay, let me change that. There are some groups today that do. Historically speaking, people didn't believe that you would remember your past lives. You didn't remember. You didn't learn from any mistakes. See, people in Buddhism could remember their past lives. But this is Hinduism. This is different. In Hinduism, they believed that you couldn't remember all your past lives until your soul had been one with Brahma again. And that's when you achieve total understanding. You are just starting over every time. You don't remember your past lives. Okay. Now, again, there are Hindu groups today that believe, yes, you can, but that's today, not back then. All right. So, you just go up and down and up and down and up and down. And if we have, let's just say on average, 60 years for each life, think about how long they believe that these souls have been around, just being reborn and reborn and reborn and reborn. That is also why, if you're a Shudra or a Dalit, the untouchable, that's why you're treated so badly too. Because the mindset is you wouldn't be a Dalit or a Shudra unless you had bad karma. If you didn't have bad karma, then you wouldn't be down here. And if you're down here, this is your punishment. This is your hell. This is what you deserve for having bad karma for so many years. My phone is ringing. Hold on. All right. Sorry, you guys. That was Walgreens. One of my pills is ready. My other one isn't, so that was nice of them to call. Okay, so anyway, that's why the lower levels are treated so badly. Because again, they have this mindset that if you're a Dalit or if you're an untouchable, you deserve this because it's a punishment for you based on how you've lived your life in the past. Unfortunately, it sets up a pretty harsh social class system. The people at the top, the Brahmin, they're the priests, remember? The warriors and the merchant farmers, they have total control. They have total say. They literally run everything. All right. They have all the wealth. They're the only educated, really. All right. The other groups, the Shudra and the Dalit, they didn't even speak the same kind of language. They didn't speak the Hindi that the Aryans spoke. They didn't know how to write in Sanskrit. So it was almost like it is two different, completely different people groups in one place. And there's no mixing. So unfortunately, the Shudra and the Dalit throughout history have been just really junked on. It's I don't know, to me it's really sad. Like I don't understand treating people that way. Why? Because thousands of years they were conquered by your people? Really? I don't know. I just think it's really sad. But again, the good thing today is, at least things are starting to change. At least things, especially the younger generations of Indians, they're starting to accept a little bit, you know, I don't know, Native Indian people and stuff. So that's good. So that's all. Das ist alles. Oh, that means that's all in German. That's all. So I will see you tomorrow. Yeah. Be sure you get that vocab done. If you didn't, I'm going to grade it. Don't be upset when there's a 0 in there. Okay. That's all. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow. Well, really, I'll see you next week. Bye.